I'm Alan Thornburrow. I'm married to Gillian. We've 4 children and live in Pennycook. My background is that I run the trade association for the finance sector in Scotland, called Scottish Investment Operations. I've been with them for about 6 years. And I've recently got into running, which has led me to do some fundraising here with you. Well, depression's affected our family in a very personal way. My wife Gillian suffered with it for a number of years, except it wasn't really understood or diagnosed as depression, and it's only in the last few years we've understood a lot more about it, but been personally quite frustrated by the lack of support and the lack of, I suppose, help for Gillian to manage, recover, and move on with her life. So that's really what motivated me to want to do more. I would love our services to reach an awful lot more people. I would like us to have better visibility, and to be able to help an awful lot more people who, perhaps haven't been to see anybody, perhaps, don't feel comfortable speaking to a doctor or a family member or a friend, but to be able to reach out to someone and actually get some support with how you're feeling, is really what I'm trying to achieve. I suppose you don't know what you don't know. I haven't really worked with a mental health charity before. I do work with another charity, Career Academies, which works with young people, and looks at supporting them through latter years of school and into positive destinations. So I've some experience of working with other charities, working with sort of diverse groups of people. Something I really get a lot out of. I would hope more than anything I could contribute skills and experience, but obviously learn a lot as well myself. So I'm involved for a few reasons, I think. Well, there are many and they're scary, which is always a good start. I think to say if the challenge isn't big enough, it doesn't scare you enough, then is it worth doing? So my first step is very, very imminent. Sunday I'm doing my first marathon in Edinburgh. So I've really, only got into running seriously since the beginning of this year. So first marathon coming up. Then at the end of August, I'm doing the Speyside Way race. That's an ultramarathon, and an ultramarathon is really anything beyond 26.2 miles. This one's 36 and a half. And then early September, I'm doing, I think the scariest of them all, for me certainly, a 50-mile ultramarathon around Loch Ness. So between now and then, I've got 112.7 miles to cover in 3 races, and the reality is starting to hit home. For me, it's a real release. I just find myself in a space after you've done those first few miles, or first sort of 20, 30 minutes or so, in a space where it's just me. I don't tend to go out running with groups other than in races that I've done. I largely like going out myself, going out in trails, hills, and things like that, and it's a bit of time for me. I have a big family. I've got a lot of commitments from an employment perspective as well. So this is a really, really good way for me to find a bit of time for me. I always think I do, and then I go and add to it. So my ultimate target was actually the Edinburgh Marathon, and then I thought, well, what happens beyond that? So far, I know that I've got the races that I'm doing this year. 2 years' time, one of my bigger goals is the Marathon des Sables, which is a race across the Moroccan Sahara Desert over 6 days, with your supplies on your back, doing the equivalent of about 5.5, 6 marathons. So it's a huge undertaking, and that's something I really want to aspire towards. Between now and then, I think anything could happen. So I may do more of the same, or I may look at sort of longer distances as well. I'd love to do a 100-mile race, but that may be beyond reach at this point. But who knows? Next year it might be in the cards. I think the biggest thing we'd like to achieve is actually broader coverage of services, looking at the services we've got, how can we perhaps enhance some of those and reach out to more people more often. The biggest thing though is, as I say, is really sort of visibility and expansion of the services we currently offer. That everybody else else is doing it. I'm finding myself just in this point where there's marathons going on, there's cycle races, there's all manner of different challenges. I personally have had a lot of requests for fundraising from a lot of other people that I know. So I think that's one of the biggest issues you're up against is you're effectively competing. What I have been really warmed by is the fact that everybody I've reached out to from a fundraising point of view has said actually depression's touched our lives as well. And so we've been personally impacted and that's why we want to support you. So that's really given me a lot of encouragement and confidence, I think, that I can really make some difference. Better than I was. I've come back from injury, so I'm in reasonable fitness. For me, I just want to complete. I will compete, but I don't want to go too crazy because I've got other races in the calendar. So I'm not looking to do a sub 3 hour marathon at this point in my life. Well, as long as it's the fastest marathon, I hope that has some impact on my running. What I would love to have done would be maybe under 4 hours. I initially thought I'd be about 5 when I signed up for it, and I think the training I've done, the races I've done, have shown that I can do much better than that. What started out as a stretch goal has become a training run now, which sounds crazy when you talk about a marathon, but that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. They can go online, so my Just Giving page, justgiving.com/Alan-Thornburrow, or they can link to that page from Twitter, from the Action on Depression website, and other places as well. But every piece of donation really helps, and 100% of it does go to Action on Depression.